How's it going, you guys? JoeWatermelon here. Today, I'm going to show you how to do the new Tormented Demon Combat Achievements. Now, if you guys are like me, you probably wondered why these non-boss NPCs got so many combat achievements dedicated to them. Well, the good news is that all of their combat achievements can and should be done all at once. Using this method for the 3 times the thrashing combat achievement, where you have to kill 3 tormented demons within 3 seconds, will complete every other tormented demon combat achievement at the same time. So without further ado, let's get into the method and how it works. This method takes advantage of several tormented demon mechanics. The first is, when the tormented demons use their bind attack, they drop their shields. The second is that when they drop their shields, heavy ranged weapons and crush melee weapons will have a faster attack speed, a higher max hit, and possibly a higher minimum hit as well. And finally, the third is when you have 3 demons on you all at once, one will be meleeing you, one will be doing the ground shadow attack, and the last will be using either ranged or magic at all times. So to put this simply, you'll be getting each demon down to 30 HP, waiting until they all bind you, and then using your increased attack speed, you'll finish them off with a now 2-tick ballista, crossbow, or crush melee weapon. Now let's get into some suggested setups. Now just to note, because you only need to do this combat achievement once, max gear is not needed. If you see an item here that you can't wear, then replace it with your next best option. The most important thing to have is either a heavy ranged weapon or a crush melee weapon for the final hit on each demon. Also, I did not include Slayer Helm in this setup, but if you're on a greater demon task, of course bring that. Here I have example setups in order of best to second best and finally budget. One important note is that in every setup you'll be on the Arceus spellbook and have the runes to cast Ward of Arceus. This spell will act as a miniature Elysian Spirit Shield and help you take less damage from the demon's attacks. In the Best in Slot setup, you'll be using Emberlight or Arclight for melee, and the Purging Staff, which will be auto-casting Dark Demon Bane with Mark of Darkness active. Now, even though I have some other melee alternatives listed here, Arclight is better than any other melee weapon for Tormented Demons. And even though Purging Staff is technically better DPS than Shadow of Tumakin, it requires that you don't brew down too much to unequip the spell, and overall I'd say Shadow makes this much easier than Purging Staff. Also, in every setup, you'll be bringing either Dragon Knives or Rune Knives to get the demons down as low as you can without risking killing them, which I'll explain later on. I'd advise not using the Blowpipe for this, as if you venomed them, it could mess up the cycle very badly. And lastly, you'll notice that every setup is a hybrid setup with very few switches, and a priority on food and survival. I'd really recommend against bringing large switches, as it can be hard to switch gear while 3 demons are on you, and because surviving as long as you can is much more important. And again, if you can't afford some of these items, just replace as needed. There isn't much that wouldn't work for this combat achievement, as long as you have your heavy ranged or crush weapon to finish them off. Alright, let's now get into how this method works. First, you're going to make your way down to the triple spawn of Tormented Demons, which is slightly southwest, and then following the path all the way south. Once you're there, you're going to aggro just one demon. Using Mage and Melee, you'll get the first demon down to below 20% HP, and then use your Dragon Knives to get it as low as possible without chancing killing it. Sub 30 HP should be fine. Now, it's very important that you only switch to your knives once the demon has done its last prayer switch around 25 to 20% of its HP. If you attack them with knives too early, you could end up proccing a ranged prayer from them, which would make this method not work. Once the first demon is below 30 HP, it's time to aggro the second demon. Now, this is very important to remember. No matter what, if 2 demons are on you, one will always be attacking with melee no matter what. So when in doubt, pray melee. It is possible for these 2 demons to be same-ticked, and if that's the case, just run away from the melee demon until it's attacking on a different tick from the mage/ranged demon. During this portion of the fight, when the demons use the bind, both demons will switch roles, with the melee demon becoming the mage or ranged one, and the mage/ranged one becoming the melee. Because it's impossible to know what the mage/ranged one will attack with, just pray melee until the melee one attacks, and then switch accordingly for the second demon once you see what it's attacking with. At this point, just keep prayer flicking and lower the second demon's HP down to the same 30 HP using the same method as the first demon. Once the second demon is down to 30 HP, it's time to aggro the third one. If all demons are aggroed at once, the third demon will only attack with the ground attack, which you can dodge. So you're praying against the first two like before, and now you're dodging the third demon's ground shadow attack. The good news is that they're all attacking every 6 ticks, so the cycle will be the same every set of attacks until they use the bind attack. Like before, when they use the bind attack, the demons will all switch roles, so prioritize melee prayer and dodging the ground attacks, and incorporate the ranged or mage prayer once you see what it's attacking with. Now keep attacking that third demon until it is also 30 HP or lower. Once each demon is 30 HP or lower, it's time to equip your ballista or crossbow, and wait for the next bind attack. As soon as you see the bind attack, dodge the shadows, and then click on each demon once with your ballista, but treat it like a blowpipe, because it'll be firing every 2 ticks. If you get the demons low enough and don't lose ticks finishing them off, this will kill all 3 demons within 3 seconds. Not only that, but because you finish them with a crossbow and while their shields are down, you'll have completed every single Tormented Demon Combat Achievement. I hope this guide helped, and good luck to all of you on your Zuck helms, and thanks for watching. Feel free to reach out in the comments or my Discord if you have questions, and consider dropping a sub, a like, or even follow my Twitch via my link in the video description. Happy scaping!